Welcome everyone in this new live development video about building an auto battle game. In this video we're going to talk about the tech design of the actor pool. So if you are familiar with auto chess game and auto battle game, you know that there is a logic called unit pool. So before we dive right in, I just wanted to say that we're just going to talk about theory here in this video. So if you're not interested about the theory of that video, just go ahead and skip this video. And if you're still wondering what I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to explain it, but I had to explain the unit pool and the actor pool, which are two different things. The unit pool is a game mechanic used in auto battle game, whereas actor pool is actually I don't know how to say, a code logic. And we're going to talk about the actor pool, the fact that all units player can use are shared is a game mechanic called unit pool or card pool or whatever. The stuff you purchase in the shop is actually shared between all players. And actor pool is the fact of not spawning units when you need them, but actually spawning a lot of units at the beginning of the game and make them hidden somewhere in the map and use them when you need to spawn a unit. And the benefits, what you gain from doing this is you never get lag spikes when you spawn units aside from the beginning of the game. So you basically hide the performance lots of spawning units in the initial loading of the game. So we're gonna do this for our game, and we're going to do this in this right now. We could have waited a bit, but since we actually have a bug regarding name initialization and name I don't know how to say multiplayer logic lag, which makes our units set to default units there. Their name is not set, so when they record to their square, and we could be fixing this right away by doing some tricks. But since it's this logic is tied to the fact that we want to build an actor pool, we're going to build the actor pool right away. But to do this, we need to modify a bunch of stuff. So how are we going to build our... So I'm on the Xmind software. I'm just going to get rid of this and create a bunch of floating topics by double clicking like this. And we're gonna have some kind of actor pool manager, which is going to be an actor in the game. I'm going to modify the color of this, the background color. Yep. And I'm actually going to copy the style and paste the style here. What is the shortcut for that? Alt Control V, like this. So what are we going to have? We're going to have like our BP units responsible for handling a bit of the logic we need, and we're going to have maybe fighting units. And I don't mean maybe. I have a piece of paper with me where I thought a bit about the logic, but I wanted to finish the logic with you guys and see what we need to modify and why. So we're gonna have fighting zone, and we're also gonna have the grid. So grids are going to have a reference to that, ref2, and are going to use that reference to create units. So instead of saying, so in our project, you don't have to open your project. We're just gonna check real quick something. In the grid, when the logic says spawn unit here, instead of spawning an actor, we're going to grab the reference to our actor pool manager, and we're going to spawn the units. So the actor pool manager, so we're gonna write this down. ask the pool manager to spawn units of a specific name like this, and the actor pool manager is gonna have a reference to, we're gonna copy that style and paste it there. The actor pool manager is gonna create the initial units we need for the game. So let's say it creates, so it's gonna have a reference to two different arrays, pooled units and I guess alive units, contained within a map of two arrays, pooled objects, or maybe it's gonna have it in two arrays. I think it's easier to build it this way. Well, actually it doesn't change much. We could have two variables handling them. Well, it's easier to have two variables just because it's easier to manipulate them in Blueprint. Two maps, pooled objects, pooled units and unpooled units. I don't know how we should say unpooled. Used units, live units, we're gonna say. Removes, it's gonna remove and adds units to the maps, and it's also gonna bind itself to the fact that units are gonna die, or actually it's gonna bind itself. The actor pool manager is gonna need some way to retrieve the fact that the fight is over, and he needs to pull the units back. So I guess he's gonna bind himself to the state dispatcher of the units when units goes static. He pulls them back in the pool. Not the pool, the pool. I don't know if that makes sense. So what I meant by that is our unit has, I guess it has, or maybe we put that in the combat unit. Yeah, it has an AI state new. I think this is actually unit state, and I think we actually need that variable within our unit. Yep. So units now has AI states, which becomes unit states. Dispatcher modify states. It has dispatcher modify state like this. Oh, we're gonna save our project. Actor pool manager, our Xmind, I meant. So when the grid needs to spawn units, it's gonna grab the actor pool manager and asks him to create units. The actor pool manager is gonna give units their name. Give units their name. And units name is going to be rep notify. So units are going to have their name rep notify. Right now it's actually only replicated initial only, because we are creating the units all the time, but we're actually going to use this to know when the unit has to be modified client side. So when the server is going to modify that variable, the clients are going to receive that information, and the client is going to know that that unit needs to take the cosmetic of the unit name it received. So this is the way we're going to send the information to the clients using that variable. Name is going to be rep notify. When name rep notifies, the unit begins play. When unit begins play, it sets cosmetics and removes himself from the pool. Or maybe it's automatically going to bind himself to the fact that the unit changed state, and it's gonna receive that event. So binds itself to each unit it generated. So maybe it should not remove himself from the pool. It doesn't care about the pool, the unit. So it's gonna send. So when this unit begins play, it's gonna dispatch the same dispatcher modify state, and this is gonna bind itself to the fact that this unit has been used, and it's gonna remove its. Well, actually, it's just gonna set. That unit needs to know if it's in the pool or not, I guess. Or does it? I notified on my paper that it does need to know if it's in the pool. Yeah, that's where we know we just used it. So, boolean in pool. So this is gonna tell the unit if it's in pool or not. Like this. So when this needs to spawn a unit, it asks the pool manager to spawn a unit, and it gives it its name. If it's just a unit, it's gonna set its name right away instead of waiting for the server to give the name. So it's just gonna set their name instantly. And we're going to need to change how units are actually registering to squares, because they no longer record when they begin play, they record when they are being used and teleported to squares. So we're going to need to have units overlapping with squares one way or another. So it's gonna enable and disable collision with squares. And this is the first thing we're going to modify, because if we modify this and hit play, it should behave the same way it behaves right now with our system, with the same bugs. So units are going. So the grid is asking for a unit. The actor pool is grabbing a unit from a point in the map and teleporting it on the square we want, which is fine. Then it tells the unit what name it has. So the unit enabled is collision with the square, and on client, units are going to have their name replicated instantly. I meant when we are using dummy units and not fighting units. So the unit is on the square. Maybe the name was set before collisioning with the square, and in that case we need to have some kind of way to wait for both name and squares to be acknowledged to record ourselves to the square. Like this. And I think that's pretty much what we want, because once the unit is on the square, it has its square and its name, and it's gonna send the information to the square, which is gonna send the information to our current board of units. So we're gonna have the proper units there in here instead of default units. And I think we also had a team color bug where it failed to properly give the team color on the client. Apparently we do not anymore. Oh yeah, so sometimes we do, and that because the bug depends on whether or not we are overloading the server with information, and we will also get rid of that bug afterwards. In the same time, we changed the way the units is being initialized. So when it is on the square, we're going to receive that information. And I think the team color bug either comes from the player initialization. No, I don't think it comes from this. We'll see how we fix that bug, but it's gonna be easier once the initialization process is how it's supposed to be in the long term. So I think that's pretty much what we need to do. Did I forget something? I'm just reading my piece of paper real quick. So when fight is completed, all units have to go back to the pool, and so the game state has a reference to all units, and it's gonna tell units that they have to go like static, and when they are statics, they're going to send their dispatcher, and the actor pool is going to be tied to that dispatcher, so it's gonna know if the unit is actually pooled or not. And the actor pool is actually going to have a little variable starting unit count, which is where we're going to specify how much unit we want it to create at the beginning of the game. So this is the amount of units you expect players to have. So for instance, we're gonna ask for 20, maybe 30 units and 80 fighting units. Or combat unit, did we call them combat unit? Yeah, because that's way better. So 80 combat units, which is going to take a while to load. Combat units. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for that video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.